from the COVID cave. We're here for volume number 2 of how to play lead guitar from scratch. Using the A minor pentatonic scale as a basis to learn a whole bunch of stuff. As we talked about in volume 1, there are 5 shapes of the pentatonic. We went over all those. These shapes are just for learning, to know where all the notes are. Eventually you don't want to get stuck in a box rut trap, because if you're stuck inside a box, well, it's kind of claustrophobic in there. So you want to get out of it. So you should have learned all 5 shapes from the first one. That's shape 4, here's shape 5. Shape 1. Shape 2. Sorry. Shape 3. Shape 4 again. Shape 5 again. And shape 1 again. Also, you should have worked on vibrato and bending a whole step here on the 8th fret of the high E string, whole step on the B string 8th fret, and you can bend up to this note, and on the 7th fret of the G string a whole step bend, which matches this note here. And you can, when you do this, you can hit this note or this note or both. Also, I showed you a riff that went all through all 5 shapes. Should have got that. And one of the things that I want to tell you is that what we do as guitar players is we program muscle memory through repetition. Let's say you want to do a riff. Just do it over and over again until it gets to be second nature. Also, there's no such thing as too slow. If you wanted to do, let's say you wanted to play shape 1 from the top to the bottom, and you couldn't do it fast enough. It sounds like all crunchy and cruddy. Just go slower. Another thing is arm and hand posture. Very important. I learned how to play watching Hendrix, so my thumb's over a lot, which is great for certain classic rock kind of riffs, pentatonic stuff. But if you want to do some more shreddy kind of stuff, you tend to want to have your thumb back here, because that way you can reach for wider interval stretches. When your thumb's up here, you can't reach so far. You drop your thumb down, you can reach. So that's an important posture thing. If your neck hurts or something's out of whack, you just got to adjust. Find out what's wrong. Make sure your elbow's not sticking out, your shoulder's not pulled back. You notice that I wear my guitar pretty high. That's so anywhere I play, my wrist is neutral. I'm never going to like wear it low, look real cool, and have my wrist tweak out like this when I try and play something. Just listen to Jimmy Page play live. Sloppy, because he wore his guitar down by his ankles and he could barely play. Great in the studio, but not so much live. That's really important. Another thing is I want to show you how these shapes work. If you look at the highest notes of shape number 4, they are the lowest shapes of shape number 5. It's 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3. And those are the lowest notes of shape number 5. The highest notes of shape number 5 are all the way across the 5th fret, which are the lowest notes of shape number 1. So these boxes are really an artificial device just to learn how to play in various places on the guitar, and to learn certain riffs, because it's important for that. Shapes are great because it helps you learn how to play some really great riffs and move between boxes and stuff like that. But up to a point they're great. At some point they can become a rut trap. And if you're stuck in a box, well, it's pretty claustrophobic, so you don't want to get stuck there. So I'm going to give you one thing right now, how not to get stuck in a rut, just as an exercise, because this gives you reference points in shapes, 5 shapes that connect the neck. And like I said before, whatever key you're in, you connect the neck and you run out of neck in a different shape, but they always connect the same way. That's the beauty of them. But one way to do it, let's say we're going to stay in A, and we want to play all the notes, which again is A, C, D, E, G. So we'll play E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, and then go to B and play C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E. And just do them on one string at a time, so you start to get familiar with where the notes are that way. That'll help you get out of the rut a little quicker, which would be good for you. Now, in shape number 1, there's so many riffs that are like crazy famous. You know, Jimmy Page. Hendrix had so many, I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Let's see. He did just tons of stuff like that. The guy from AC/DC, you know, anybody, Clapton, everybody, all the old classic rock players and a lot of modern players always will play out of shape 1 of the pentatonic. Not always, but a lot of the time. So it's really good to know. Also, some of the other shapes are good to know riffs in, like Neil Schon from Journey. He would play a lot of riffs starting in shape number 3, starting here on this root note. He'd go. You hear that a lot on Journey records. And then shape number 4, up here you got riffs like Purple Haze, which then goes down to shape 3. But it's in the wrong key. It should be in the key of E. This is the key of A, so it doesn't really work. You got Layla in that key. You also have it here. Music is nothing but repeating patterns, and especially when you're only using 5 notes in the pentatonic scale, it's going to repeat all over the place. You're going to find these patterns all over the place. There's also a way to go in between shapes in the A minor pentatonic that is an E on the bottom with a G on top, like right here. That lets you go from shape 5 into shape 1. Same thing going from shape 1 to shape 2. And that lets you do that ZZ Top thing. It's also here, found in shape 4, going to shape 5. It's right there again. And they're all over the place. Also, here's another thing. When you're playing in shape number 1 in particular, a lot of guitar players hang on this C note right here, or this C note right here, and that is the Rut Note. At one point in my life, before I knew the names of scales and stuff, I invented my own scale just to get around and not ever play that note, and it turns out to be, well, we'll talk about that in volume 3. Anyway, but people got, and they hang on that C note like that all the time. And it becomes really the Rut Note. So, caution, resist, find some other notes, land on an A. Just don't stay on that C all the time. Occasionally it's fine, but not all the time. Another way to get out of the rut is to play, and this is just an intro, volume 3 we'll get into more of this, or volume 3 or 4, but you can play 3 notes per string instead of playing 2 notes per string, like all these are. We have a nice easy one right here, which is C, D, and E. I'll play it up here. C, D, and E. So I start on A and I can go, or start on G and go. Throw harmonics in if you know. thing about bends that we didn't talk about, we were doing whole step bends last time. You can do bigger bends, like here's one note in the key in shape number 2, and here's another note in, actually these are both in shape 3. So I could bend from here a step and a half to there. It's like the first riff in Hotel California. Right? And then I can also, if I wanted to, I could do like a double bend. I could go. Let's see. So that's a 2-step bend. I'm bending from here up to here. And eventually you'll be able to bend with all fingers. Another thing is you want to do rhythmic variety when you're playing. Like rhythmic groupings of 4. We didn't talk about that. But I'm going to mix it up and I'm going to back up on one of them. It mixes up the rhythm, gives you more variety. Another thing is backwards groupings of 3. So one more thing about bends. This is a dirty bend. It's where you get more than one string in your bend, so it sounds kind of filthy and dirty and mean and nasty. I guess we should probably leave volume 2 right about here, because I tried to make a volume 2 before and the video was too long, so I couldn't post it. So we're going to end volume 2 here. Next time we're going to get into such things as note selection and phrasing, which are the 2 aspects of lead playing. Phrasing includes dynamics, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, slurs, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do that in volume 2. And either volume 2 or volume 3 we'll get into more scales like blues, major and minor blues scales, a bunch of modes and all that stuff. So a lot more to come. It keeps getting deeper and deeper, so put your little the little wing things that kids wear in the pool, put those on because it's going to get deep. Okay, you guys take care and see you soon. Bye.